they're saying that, okay, we need to raise the prices because costs have gone up. So obviously you have to reflect in the prices that you're doing. But then what's not making sense is 6 months ago, you gave your bosses the biggest bonus they've ever seen in their whole life. Since, like, in the whole time.
Yeah.
So the only reason you'll give your bosses the biggest bonus is just because profits have increased.
Yeah. Profits have, yeah.
So if profits have increased, then...
Welcome to the Takeoff Experience, where I sit down with highly driven people to talk about their journey, their failures, and their successes. If you want to take off in your career, your business, your finances, or your mindset, then this podcast is for you. This episode is sponsored by Money Hub, a platform that allows you to see all of your current accounts in one place and also provides you with smart money management tools to help you get right with your money. Welcome back to this episode of the Takeoff. We're in the booth again. We got a special guest, Mike. We've actually had him before, on the Squid Game podcast, but I wanted to get him separately because he did an event that I spoke at, I think it was about a month ago now.
Yep.
Right. So I just wanted to understand his take on the event. But actually, just before that, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm all good, man. I actually got here quite early.
Yeah, for once.
I know. That's the thing. That's crazy. It's like, because I had somewhere to go before.
Yeah.
But then I thought, if I try and go there, I won't get back in time. So I was going to leave the car here and take the train there.
Yeah.
And I got here and I was like, no, let me just stay here. It's not worth the risk. So I
would have been late if you did that then.
Yeah. I was just chilling, doing some work, and that's it.
Yeah. Rah. That's crazy. And you were shooting a video, right? Was it this weekend?
Yeah, Sunday.
How was that?
Yeah, that was really good. So obviously, I'm sure we'll get into it when I talk about what I'm doing and everything. But it was really good. It was an experience.
Okay. Rah. Okay, cool. So, just as a reminder for those that haven't listened to the Squid Game episode, tell them who Mike is.
Who Mike is, or what KBM is?
Mike first.
Okay.
I want to know who the person is, not just the brand. Yeah.
Actually, you know what? First and foremost, Mike is, let's say, a warrior of God. That's what it is.
Love that.
Like, let's say I'm in God's army. I'm just trying to do God's work on earth. That's first and foremost for me. To be honest. And when I answer this question, I don't like to talk about what I do. I like to talk about who I am, sort of thing. So that's what I started off with there. Secondly, I'm a family man. In terms of like, I love family. I love people around me as well. I'm always trying to build communities as well. I always work with the communities. I would say I like to think I'm a loving man.
Okay.
Caring man.
Love that.
Ambitious, 100%.
Gotta have the ambition, man.
Yeah, 100%. There's nothing that I can't do, I don't believe. I think everyone should have that same mentality.
Yeah,
there's nothing,
100%.
There's nothing you can't do. That's why we're here today in terms of the event and everything like that. There's nothing you can't do. There's no heights you can't reach. I'm a husband.
Okay. Congrats.
Thank you. Soon to be for you. Congrats.
Yeah. A couple more episodes. I'll be married for sure.
Yeah. But yeah. And I think I've always been someone who likes the world to be fair. I know that's quite ambitious in itself. So in everything I try and do, I'm always trying to level the playing fields.
Yeah.
My sector is money, accounting, finance, wealth. So that's the sector that I know. So that's the sector that makes sense to me, for me to be, like, let's say, an activist in that sector. And that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do in terms of who I am and what I'm trying to give to the people. But that's been something that's been part of my life for God knows how long, man. In whatever I do.
Yeah. Wow.
So I hate bullies, go against them, all that kind of stuff. People trying to control things, but yeah.
Have to, bro. Like, at the end of the day, you have to follow your own journey. That's the way I see it. So give us a bit of a day in the life of Mike. So you told us a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
But like, what's your day to day like?
It does vary, but usually I have I have my job, which is my 9 to 5. That's what finances the business.
Yeah.
To be honest, or finances my lifestyle that I live or whatever I do. So I have that. I also have like a personal trainer, so I do gym as well.
Okay. Oh, right. Personal trainer.
Yeah. I also like boxing, so I have that a few times a week as well. And then obviously there's the business, which on a day-to-day basis can be anything. Like depends on the clients that you got for the day. But it's a very busy day because on top of that, I also do mentoring as well.
Okay.
So anyone who's watched the previous one, they'll know this as well. Like do mentoring for that mentoring organization. I'm also on the board for that organization as well.
Sick.
So yeah, there's a lot going on. So
I
I can't tell you that. Yeah, 9 o'clock I do this, 10 o'clock I do this.
Yeah, you don't know. Some days
it's different. Yeah, it's different because depends on what my priorities are for that day or what I need to get done for that day. Because I would say like I'm in 5 different sectors or 5 different things going on. There's a lot of things that I'm trying to incorporate into one day.
Yeah, of course. So you're an accountant by day, right? And then you've got KBM Hub is what you call it now on the side as well. And then you're saying you're also a mentor and you're on the board as well. Let's focus on KBM Hub. What's KBM Hub for those that don't know? Okay. What it is?
So initially KBM Hub is three entities under one hub, hence the name. They all start with KBM.
Yeah.
And basically it's a wealth hub. So I'll explain like the different dynamics of it. So the first entity or business that I started was I'm an accountant by day.
Okay.
So if I'm helping people with accounts, why am I not charging for it? And also as well, like you can't afford a tax man forever. So
can't, bro.
I had to set up a business with everything that I was doing. So that's KBM Financial Focus. Okay. So that's how I initially started. Now it's kind of changed a little bit. So before I used to do people's accounts and help them with that. Now what KBM Financial Focus is a hub. Okay. It's a hub for different financial services. So think of it like this. I like to call it the confused.com of the financial services.
Yeah.
So you go to confused.com, type in what your needs are for, let's say, for your car insurance, and it'll give you quotes of different people that you can go and see. With KBM Financial Focus, that's what I'm trying to build.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily have to be me that does the work or whatever like that. But what will happen is you'll come to me, for example, you go to the KBM Hub website, and you say, okay, I need someone to help me with my mortgage. Then what happens is you get a quote from 3 different mortgage advisors.
Okay.
And then you choose which one you want to go with.
Okay.
And that's what KBM Hub is now. So same with accounting. Okay, I need to do my annual accounts. My annual returns need to be done. Or something like that.
Yeah.
We'll provide you with 3 different quotes.
Okay.
So depending on what you need, and depending on your budget as well, you choose the best one that suits you.
Okay.
So that's KBM Financial Focus. And then the next one that was produced out of that was KBM Edu Wealth.
Okay.
So Edu Wealth is the events that we do. It's the workshops that I do as well. It also has mentoring under it. It also offers work experience as well. And all of these things here is teaches people, young and old, how to build wealth, how to manage your money. And more importantly, especially in this day and age with the cost of living going up, how to manage things like debt.
Yeah, important.
Yeah,
very, very important.
And sometimes it gets missed.
Yeah.
But for me, it's as important as building wealth.
Yeah, 100%.
Because the stats are 2 out of 3 adults, or UK adults, I should say, are in debt. But people don't talk about that.
I'm not surprised.
So we had another person in the room a minute ago.
Yeah.
2 of us out of the 3 are in debt. Apparently, according to the stats.
Yeah.
But it doesn't get talked about. If you look at social media, it looks like
everybody's rich.
Everyone's up. Yeah, everyone's got
money. Everybody's up. It's mad.
So, but the way that started was, like I said, I started off with mentoring anyway. And then when I was talking to people, or talking to the young ones more importantly, I understand their knowledge of wealth is like non-existent.
Okay.
I'm asking them, what do you get taught in school? And they're not. They're like, what do you mean? They don't teach us.
Nothing about finance.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I therefore didn't get.
They don't teach us nothing about finance or money or whatever.
No aspect of it. Zero.
So the only thing they can see is what they see on TV or social media or whatever it is. So that's their knowledge of wealth. So that's how it started. But then also what I noticed is it's not just the young people. Let's say the Gen Z. It's also millennials as well that need help with this. So that's why we started producing these workshops, courses, programs, so that we can educate people. And the motto for the whole of KBM Hub, by the way, is educate yourself, empower the youth, but it can also be empower the people.
Okay.
And affect change.
Okay.
So the end goal, once you do that, is to affect change.
Yeah.
We're not doing this. Obviously, people, you want to make money. For a business has to make profit or whatever. That's just it. But the why isn't money.
I love that.
The why is to actually affect change. If it was just the money, then you can just go to anyone and then take the wrong money from someone else and then go and do the wrong thing, because they're not actually trying to affect change. They're just trying to control a certain system or the way things are going anyway. So the ultimate goal is to affect change in the end.
Okay.
And that's for EduWealth. In doing EduWealth and in KBM Financial Focus, because even in KBM Financial Focus, when we take you on, we try to teach you how to do this yourself. Yeah. So
that's the right way.
If someone's self-employed and they're doing a self-assessment tax return, next year you should do it yourself. You don't actually need me to do it. You don't actually need the business to do it. We should walk you through the process. We should walk you through the process so that you can do it yourself next year. Yeah, we're losing money, but at the same time, you've educated yourself. And then we're empowering you as well. Obviously, it's affecting change. So you can see how the tagline goes across all three businesses. So the last one is KBM Finesse Your Finance. And I'll first talk about what it is. And it's basically just wealth or money entertainment. So we have things like the podcast, we have things like the game show as well, all of it on YouTube. It actually started first by doing lives. And obviously that's where we met as well.
Yeah, I remember. Was it? It might have been a year ago, year and a half.
So I think it's like 2 years now.
Is it 2 years?
When lockdown first ever came. So it started off with things like that. And what I noticed is when I was doing EduWealth and I was talking to the young people, there's a certain way they're going to learn. And I understand it more because that's how I learn. So it's funny, I was watching another podcast today, like Diary CEO, and they had Simon Sinek on it. And he was talking about how he learns as well, and it's it's very close to how I learn. He was saying something like he's written more books than he's actually read, which is interesting, because if you listen to stats, the way to become a millionaire is to read a certain amount of books every month.
That's what they say.
But obviously he's saying, no, I didn't read no books, to be honest with you. It's like having conversations like we're having now.
I don't really read books.
That's how I learn. And it's the same with me. Like in school, I learned more by talking to people and understanding them. So with Finesse My Finance, it's meant to be another way of learning. So you might not necessarily come to the workshop, but we've got something else that you can learn the same information from. So that's why we had the podcast. And with the podcast as well, what we wanted to do is, it's easy for us to sit down here and say, you know what, Gen Z think like this. But then don't have a Gen Z next to us. To actually ask them the questions. So that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to give you, the first podcast, after the lives, the first podcast that came out, I was in a group, I think there was 8 of them. And the average age in that 8 was about 15 years old. And I was asking them questions, getting their responses. And it's, for me, I can affect more change through that. And when they're talking as well, I can, again, going back to the slogan, educate, empower, affect, change. I can educate them then with what they're saying. Then I can empower them to make a better decision. And that would affect change amongst their generation, rather than telling them what to do. So I'm not telling them, I'm just educating them. I'm just saying, I hear you now. Now it makes sense. But what about this? Or Why don't you go and do some research on this? I might already have the answer, but you can't inspire someone if you just give them the answer.
Yeah, you can't. You
say
got to challenge them to it, for sure. Yeah.
Go and check this out and see if you have the same perspective on that. So that was the recording that we did on Sunday. But one of the things we do now is music as well.
Okay.
And even with that, it's getting young people or people that are in my circle, people that I've mentored, who have said they have an interest in doing music, and saying to them, okay, this is what I want the song to be about. So let's say, for example, the first song we did was about generational wealth. And I said to them, this is how you build generational wealth. Yeah. Do your own research as well, but this is how you build generational wealth. Generational wealth is not a buzzword. Yeah. But everyone acts like it's a buzzword. So if you want someone to come to your event, you say this is how...
It's not a buzzword.
It's like if you want someone to come to your event, you can name it something like how to really build generational wealth or something like that. And people will be like, oh, that's mad. And then you go and you're like, you didn't tell me nothing really. Yeah. So with them, I gave practical step-by-step, this is how you build generational wealth. Okay. And it was so much information that it's actually in 2 songs. The second song hasn't come out yet. Okay. Right, hold tight, it's coming out in October or something like that. Okay. But, second one hasn't come out yet, but the first one, if you listen to the words of it, like just take away the video, just listen to the words, it actually tells you step by step, do this to build generation, do this. And I think it gives about 6 or 7 different things. Whereas sometimes what you hear is the main way to build generational wealth. And this is one way, it's on there as well, but it's to go and get life insurance. Okay, yeah. I've been hearing that come up a bit more. That is one way. Yeah. But there's other ways to build generational wealth. But that's the main focus. Or give your child a business. But that's not necessarily the only way. Yeah, there's lots of ways. There's quite a lot. Like I said, it's over 2 songs, so there's quite a lot of ways to actually build real generational wealth. So that's an example of things that we do. The last song that we recorded on Sunday, which is probably the one that I'm most excited about coming out. Okay. It's about what's going on in the world right now. So the cost of living is a bit mad.
It's nuts. It's real nuts. It's going to get higher as well. It's going to stop. So,
but what's happening is, what we've seen over time is, like, rightly or wrongly, it's like, okay, do you know what? Today, the petrol prices are going to be £1.70. And we're just like, okay, cool. And I'm just going to go and buy petrol. Yeah. But what the song is saying is, you don't need to accept all of this, you know. Like, there is, like, the reason why things keep going up or things keep happening is because we are just accepting it. Okay. And then show the other side of things. It's like, okay, cool. They're saying that, okay, we need to raise the prices because costs have gone up. So obviously you have to reflect in the prices that you're doing. But then what's not making sense is 6 months ago, you gave your bosses the biggest bonus they've ever seen in their whole life. Since, like, in the whole time. Yeah. So the only reason you'll give your bosses the biggest bonus is this because profits have increased.
Yeah. Profits have, yeah.
So if profits have increased, then it's kind of contradicting what you're saying about you're losing money.
A lot of companies that are benefiting off the price rises have made record profits.
Yeah.
Oil companies, grocery stores, everything that's like kind of essential for us, all of them are reporting record profits. They could have cut into their profits.
Exactly.
And just kept the prices low if they wanted to, but they're not going to because they're greedy.
Of course.
Right?
And
that's what it's about.
And that's what the song's about. It's just opening people's eyes to say, you might not necessarily do nothing about it, but don't believe that that these guys are losing money, because what could happen is you look at it like, okay, I get it. This is the reason you're rising these prices. You know what? I don't want anyone to go jobless. Like, okay, if we don't do this, then that means we have to cut about 20,000 employees. Yeah. And you're like, okay, no, you know what? We've already gone through like coronavirus and stuff like that. People lost their jobs. Yeah. We don't want further people to lose their jobs. So I understand. Let me just pay this. Like I said, you might not do nothing about it, but it's just to give them an understanding, saying it's not the way it looks. Like this is the last example I used, but for the song, there's another bit where it's talking about okay, so everything's increasing, like taxes and stuff like that are increasing, and the government's trying to do their best, but it's not good enough. Especially when you look at things like this. Something like Big Ben is costing 70 billion.
What, to refurb?
Yeah, to refurb.
It. That's crazy, man.
I can't lie. You don't need to be refurbed. Use that 70 billion somewhere else.
Straight up, right? Like, for the people struggling.
You're telling me
caring about buildings.
Yeah, you're telling me it's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, it's elite stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know.
So that's
they're out of touch with reality. That's the truth. You know, they, you know, I'm not saying that I sympathize with them, but unless you're the type of person that's always cared about other people, the way I see it, if you've always been born with a silver spoon, it's going to be hard for you to just be like, okay, let me feel how they feel.
Yeah.
You've never lived that life, right? You're not going to be,
100%.
you know, if I'm driving a fancy car, I'm living in a fancy area, it's going to be hard for me to like understand somebody who's struggling to pay rent or their electricity bills every month. It's just how it is. And, you know, the majority of the people in power, unfortunately, they come from these privileged backgrounds. So it's just a weird, very weird cycle. Yeah. At the end of the day.
What I would love personally for me, doesn't have to necessarily be myself. What I would love is the young people to start taking control of certain areas. So, and I think these, it's not just young people, our generation, millennials and Gen Z are a lot more, we're challenged to certain things. We don't like the sound of that. It's like, wait, that doesn't make sense. And we're more likely to challenge it than I think than the other generations. I could see that a lot. So what would be a good transition is people start putting themselves in these places of power that he's talking about, saying, okay, now that we're here, we can actually make the right changes. So it's not me, because like you said, they don't actually know. They come from a different background, so they don't actually realize. So I wouldn't say that I had an issue with the people per se that were in power or whatever. What I would like to do is break through, and just have a group of people who break through saying, okay, you know what, you're about to go and say this. To be honest with you, that doesn't make sense to people on our level. That's not helping us at all. You may think it is, because obviously you're sitting in a certain place. So for you, it's like, what are you talking about? We increased this amount, blah, blah.
Gave you £300. Yeah, we're build this. Yeah,
we're giving you this money back for your council tax or for your electricity and your gas and everything like that. Like, just that £200 rebate, that should settle you. That doesn't make any sense. My thing's gone up by £1,000. Yeah, what's £200 going to help me?
Exactly.
So when they have those conversations, it'll be good if people start forcing themselves into those rooms to say that's not making sense. Maybe we should try this instead. And I think when we have something like that, and that's what we're trying to open the eyes to people. When we have something like that, it's not to go and fight and do protests and do all this kind of thing. It's actually, let's come together, let's work together. We have a difference of opinion. How do we get to the place where we have not the same opinion, because it's hard for that to happen, but we can compromise on certain things and we can get win-win for both. That's probably what, I don't read as much, but that's probably one of the first books I read. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And I think one of the habits was to always look for the win-win. So I think those kind of conversations need to happen more. So went off topic a little bit, but with Finesse for Finance, what we're trying to do is just educate people in ways like that. And hopefully with that we can affect change.
It's super important. What's going on right now, I think understanding personal finance is probably more important than it's ever really been in the last few years, which is why I think there's been a surge in interest in it, which is good. I mean, it's good for education, it's good for us as educators of it. And I think it's just important to just continue, like you said, challenge. I don't know what the right way to challenge somebody is though, because you're saying no protests. Of course, fighting violence is never the answer. It's not gonna do anything, but get yourself into it. So maybe like some places like Question Time, maybe lobbying, maybe writing to your MP. I mean, a lot of people don't do that. Petitions,
why not become the MP?
Can become the MP. It takes time.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it takes time. But will people vote for you? This is the thing about politics, right? Politics, I feel like it's not just, it's easier said than done, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
of course.
can you convince the voters to vote for you? And it's also an agenda thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You might want to do good, but at the same time, you want to win the vote. So maybe you will say stuff that you know will get you to win the vote. And that's what a lot of people do, right? That's what a lot of politicians do. They'll say the right things to make it seem like, yeah, we're on your side, when they're just saying what they want you to hear, rather than what's good for you and how they can actually help you.
But another way of doing it is, let's say, for example, and this will link to the event.
Yeah.
Is when I say it, you'll understand maybe a bit more. But say like I wasn't good at bringing group people together.
Yeah.
So being an MP is almost like being an influencer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you have the popularity, you'll probably get the votes.
Yeah.
So if you're not good at doing that, you might be friends with someone who is good at doing that.
Okay.
And they're happy, like they have the same views as you, but you have the strategy. It doesn't mean that I need to go and do it. I can give the strategy to this person. Okay. And that happens in politics anyway.
Yeah.
Boris Johnson might just be the person that's the most popular amongst his thing, but he goes to his group. He goes to the Conservatives, and they're the ones who will come forward with all these ideas. He doesn't sit there by himself, make decisions by himself. So when I say become an MP, it doesn't mean you have to be like the minister in your area. Yeah. You could just be someone that's working there. Yeah. And then you see something in someone, and you're like, this is the person I'm running with. Like, let me get underneath them. What is this program? Scandal.
I don't think I watched that.
There's a program called Scandal, and for anyone who's watched it, they'll understand this analogy a bit more. But you have the president, and then you have the president's advisor, which was a guy named Cyrus. Okay. But most times, what the president did came from Cyrus. Okay. That's your person. That's you employed him to be that person. So he would go and get all the information and say, okay, Mr. President, you have 3 options from this scenario that just happened. Which 3 are you going to pick? Okay. So, smart, so it doesn't mean that you have to be the president. You could be the Cyrus guy and say, okay, you know what? There's a cost of living issue. I've spoken to your group of people that you've hired, and that's another thing that they say about. I've been banging out Stephen Bartlett's Diary of a CEO, but one of the things he said he become a better entrepreneur when he hired the right people. Yeah. So he has the business idea, but he's not the expert in that area. Okay. So he goes to those experts and says, what should we do in this thing? Okay. And then they go back to their team. And then they go to the drawing boards, and then come back to him and say, this is your steps that you can take. Okay. So yeah, you don't have to actually be the one. And all of us are trying to make a change as such. But basically, so we can move on with KBM Hub. What we're trying to do is just try to influence and change. And I think that's how you can build power through that. So it doesn't have to be, if it was up to me, you wouldn't even know who I was.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
KBM Hub would be there, but you would never know who I was. Yeah. You would never know. But obviously the way things are going and the way we need to build the business.
Yeah, you got to put your face.
Out there. But if it was up to me, like movements would be happening and you just know KBM Hub. Yeah. And you'd be like, well, who's behind all of this? But it would be like, there'll be so many people that you wouldn't know one person that was behind it. Yeah. It was just a movement.
Yeah. No, okay.
What if I told you that there was a platform that allows you to see how you're spending all of your money across all of your accounts, especially at a time where the cost of living is at its highest that it's been in years? What if I also told you that this platform also allows you to see how much income you are getting every month across all of your accounts, as well as helping you to set budgets for all of your expenses? It doesn't stop there though. This platform also helps you to send a record of your rent payments to Experian so that it is recorded on your credit report, which can help to boost your credit score. This platform sounds amazing, right? Well, this platform is called Money Hub, which you can download for free by tapping the link in my description. You get access to premium features free for 6 months, 6 whole months with no auto renew. And then if you decide that you love the app and the platform and you want to continue with premium features, then it will only cost you £1.49 per month. That is the deal of the century, right? Well, go and download the Money Hub app right now.
And I wanted to touch on the event side. So what was the reason for you going into events?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say first foremost, before coronavirus happened, I was meant to do the event that I'm doing now.
Okay. Oh, for real? Okay.
But it was actually booked, had a venue, everything was sorted, and it was going to be in April of 2020.
Okay.
March 2020 is when coronavirus came and everyone was told to work from home. And then April is when it was like lockdown. So obviously we had to cancel all of that. But in terms of the events, it's always been part of the module of KBM. So we was always trying to reach as many people as we could reach, and trying to inspire as many people as we could, but also to build a community.
Yeah.
So KBM should be a community. And like I said before, it shouldn't be one person.
Yeah.
It should be a community. And it's like you're all driving towards one goal. So that the events that we're doing is meant to show that.
Okay.
And as you see from the events, for the people that came or people that have heard about it or whatever, but you can see it's not just you come to the event and you just learn about how to build wealth.
Yeah.
There's different times. We had more breaks and stuff about how to work together and more conversation about how to work together than this is what you do to make more money.
Yeah.
Because in my eyes, working together is the way you make more money.
True that. Yeah. Collaboration is key.
And I think at the moment, what kind of gets put forward is go alone so you can go faster. That's the analogy that people put forward. If you go alone, you can go faster, and then you can go back, and then you can pull people up, and all that. I don't believe that, to be honest with you.
Neither do I, to be fair. I believe in partnerships, collaborations, which is why I like the podcast area of this.
I believe I can go further if I'm with a team,
100%,
rather than doing it by myself.
100%.
It's impossible. I'm going to go crazy. And then if I'm competing against someone, it should be competitive in a positive way.
It should be nice, competitive, help each other, competitive, like cheer each other on, but it shouldn't be negative. It
should never be like, oh no, I don't want you to succeed so I can succeed. It should be like that. You know what? And I think I mentioned this in the event. It's like I should see you do something, and I'll be like, oh wow, okay. I need to talk to Atto. Like, how did he do that? But it should be exciting. It should be something that I'm trying to achieve if it's in line with my own goals, rather than be like, oh, look at him. Who does he think he is? Like, so with the events, another thing as well is I always had in my head that the events will be different. I've been to plenty of events, especially to do with money and how to build wealth. And like I said, I don't learn by sitting in a classroom. I know it's not in a classroom, but in my head, that's how I see it. I'm sitting in a classroom and I'm just listening to someone talk. I can't learn that way. Yeah. So I needed to create an event that wasn't that way. Okay. So you would have people come and talk, but it wouldn't just be like a whole 6 hours of people talking. There's different breaks throughout. And there's time for you to network, for you to build connections. You also have you pick the right host, for example, you pick the right speakers so that you can have the environment that you're trying to build. And obviously the events will get bigger as they go along. But the one thing I want to keep in mind for me is that you don't lose. Yeah. You don't lose what I was trying to get in the first place and what KBM was all about in the first place. So I think for me, I had the idea that I was getting into events, But the thing is, I went to an event in February, and that's when I went, nah, I'm doing it now. Because I went to an event in February, and I was a bit disappointed.
Okay.
And so, I just thought, no, it's time, you know, because people deserve to go to an event and you actually learn something. And I think sometimes what happens, and like I said, everyone has to make money, but I think sometimes what happens, people go to events to, not people go to the events, the speakers come to the event, or someone puts on an event to sell you something at the end.
Yeah, that's true. I've been to a lot.
So they give you a little teaser, and you're like, oh, hey. So it's like, hey, do you want to know the 5 ways to make money? Okay, way number 1 is this. Yeah. Way number 2 is this. Yeah. You want to find out 3, 4, and 5, then you need to buy this package.
Lead generators. And
you're like, yeah. Like, I get it. You're trying to build your business. I get it. Yeah. But why did you advertise it as 5 ways to build your business when you're only giving me 2?
Yeah, it's misleading. Yeah. It's very, very, very misleading. I don't like that. I think that's bad practices. Lead gen is an interesting thing because I get like wanting to do it, but I think there's a right way and a wrong way to do it.
Yeah, 100%.
You just got to be very careful that, I understand people want to make their millions. Yeah, that's just got to be very careful like how you do it. I wanted to understand actually from your point of view, how did you take me through setting up the event? Where did you start, and how did it sort of end? Yeah.
So like I said, I already had the idea in April. April 2020. It's just coincidence that we did it April 2022. So I already had the idea in my head. The event was a bit different this time, but it was always a part of me that was like, I need to get back. Once everything opens up, I need to get back on this. So first thing I had to think of is, okay, what's the event going to be about? What's the theme of the event? And again, for me, for an outsider, it might not seem this way, but for me, I see it as when I have these things in my head, like literally I'll pray about it, and then just see what comes up. I'm waiting, like I said from the beginning, a warrior of God, and just waiting for answers from that. I'll never do something out of my own greed or something like that. Well, I can't say never because we're all human, so it can happen. But I kind of prayed about it and say, okay, what's the next step? And then I went to go and watch Matrix.
Okay, cool.
I went to go and watch Matrix, the film, and it reminded me of how much I love the movie. Because of the whole premise behind it, that we live in a world that like things have been pulled over our eyes and things are just happening, and we just follow it because it's what's been happening. So we just follow it. We don't think we can do anything about it, but you can take the red pill, obviously.
Okay.
And then you can be like, oh, I didn't see all of this. But anyway, after I watched the movie, like I said, I've really been praying about that event. I was like, no, this is it. Like, we have to do something to do with the truth about how to build wealth. So it's not going to be a thing of, do you want to make 6 figures? I can make you 6 figures in 6 months. Like, it has to be the truth. Like, this is you want to make money, you have to work hard, you
you
have to work hard. You have to do the right things.
Not Shopify in 6 months. You're gonna
do So it's like it's like I was seeing so many things. I was like you said, the lockdown. What it did is, rightly or wrongly, brought about loads of people who wanted to come into the space and teach people about how to be good with money and stuff like that. Actually, sorry, I shouldn't just say that. The lockdown brought more influencers or more people that want to be influencers.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So that's in every industry. So it's not just
more creators. Yeah. Defo did. Some have fallen off, but a lot more creators. Yeah.
So I always say you find someone by their actions anyway. So if you've fallen off, no offense, but it's because it's your actions. Your words might have said something, but your actions wasn't really.
Yeah, it wasn't what you wanted to do.
Yeah, it wasn't really what you wanted to do. Yeah. Because it's a long game.
It's a very, very long game.
It's and the people that you see succeeding in it right now, they've been doing it from day.
A long time. Yeah.
But anyway, so I knew what the theme was now. So now I had to get the right people.
Okay.
And like you said, I didn't want to get just anyone on to be speakers, but I knew that I wanted to have different industries or different people speaking about different things. So it would have been very easy, and it would have probably been 10 times more successful if I just did an event about how to invest in crypto.
Probably.
It would
maybe not now, but yeah, probably back then. Yeah. You probably would have
something like that.
Yeah.
Or how to invest in property. One of those two. If I just left it like that,
the popular topic.
Yeah, the popular topics. But I was like, no, that should be part of it, but it shouldn't be the be all end all. It should let's do the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I had to approach the right people. So the event, I knew that I wanted to get someone to talk about debt. I knew I wanted to get someone to talk about insurance. I wanted someone to talk about property, but property from how to invest in property, but also how to get on the property ladder. I wanted to make sure that was spoken about. I wanted someone to talk about Forex, because it hasn't been spoken about in a while. It's kind of gone quiet, but you can still make money. You can still make money on Forex if you know what you're doing, and stock as well. And I wanted someone to talk about crypto essentially as well, and also and how to manage your money. So I knew I wanted all those things. So I looked in a network of people that I was following, people that I've worked with before, and then reached out to them. So even with this, for anyone who's doing the events, you're going to get people reacting different ways when you reach out to them. Some people are just going to blank you, and they're not going to reply. They're not going to reply back. Some people are going to be polite and say, "No, I'm not on it." And then the people that are on it, they're going to reply to you and say, "Yeah, let's do this." That's just the way it is. But what I would say to people is, don't compromise what you're trying to go for, because it would have been easy for me to just ask anyone, because there's a few people doing certain things, but I wanted to get people that I knew, like even if they didn't know it themselves, but I knew they had the same kind of mindset as how I was thinking about it. So this isn't let me try and make money real quick kind of thing and do an event to make money real quick. It was, no, I'm trying to actually help. Like I believe in what KBM's doing, and I'm trying to help. So the next step obviously was getting the speakers, and then the next step was getting the venue. So in terms of the venue that we chose, I've done a few workshops and events there beforehand.
Okay, so you already knew.
But usually for young people, like before.
Okay.
So I knew the venue, and I had a good relationship with them.
Okay.
So I said, look, I'm trying to do, because it was 3 events in April. I'm trying to do 3 events. This is what we're going to bring. Like, what could we do? Like, what deal could we come up with? So we came up with a deal. I paid them, and then it's just about putting the day together now. But the thing is that you always find is, obviously there's a group of people. You need to be like, you have to make time for everyone. So I can't say, oh yeah, on Tuesday we're having a call, because you might not be free on Tuesday. And then there's 13 of people that I'm trying to liaise and try to work out what's the best date for them to come. So it's all about people management as well. But you have to know your superpower. For me personally, I feel like my superpower is bringing people together for like a great cause. But I would never say my superpower is to go, and I can do it, but it wouldn't be to go and speak. So like the same way you went to go and deliver your part of the event, I would never be able to do it on the same level you did it.
Okay.
But you have to know yourself and just be like, okay, I can do an event, but it will never be on this level. So it doesn't make sense for me to do this whole event by myself. So that's another reason why I reached out to the speakers as well. And also with the knowledge that every speaker has in their own industry, it surpasses what I have.
Okay.
On that topic. So I was like, so why am I going to give people a disservice?
Yeah.
So that's what I was much happier to be, like I said, not do any speaking, which you saw. The only time I spoke was at the end of both events. And it was almost just to wrap it up.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't want my face to be part of KBM.
I
want it to be more of a movement rather than, so okay, you went to KBM event, you must have learned so much. Yeah, I love the way they do this, that, and the other. Rather than what some people might like, and it's up to them as well. But some people are like, oh, you went to Michael's event. Like, you hear when Michael said this? Like, I'm not looking for that. I'm looking like, I went to KBM.
Brand, yeah.
The KBM should last longer than Michael. So when I'm gone, KBM should be running.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, with the events, that was it. And then obviously you have to think about the equipment you need for the day. And I also...
What equipment did you need for the day?
So you needed a camera. So then you make the decision, are you going to use your own camera or you get a cameraman? And then I was making a decision whether there was a part of me that wanted to do it online.
As well as in person?
Yeah, have an online option. So we have a camera set up so people can live stream it and blah, blah. But then I thought, let's make it exclusive.
Yeah.
Like, you either come to the event or you miss it.
Yeah. That's important, yeah.
So I wanted to do that. And to be honest, that was more to drive for the next events. So when you hear the hype about it and what happened, you're like, it's not like, oh, let me go and get the recording.
Yeah.
It's like, I need to go to the next event, you know, like to make sure. So that was more of a tactical thing as well, that I didn't do it online, and it would have added to the cost as well.
Yeah. What was you'd have to tell me the initial figure, but how much would you say somebody needs a startup cost for like a 50-person event? What would you say the startup costs are roughly around, like the range? Or
depending on the venue, I would say
with everything included, you know, like venue, equipment costs, everything generally.
I'll say between 1 to 5k.
Okay, 1 to 5k.
But right. It's the reason the margin is so big because it depends on the venue. 2, if you're paying the speakers as well. Also the equipment that you need, if you are going to live stream it, you need someone to come in and do it. Videographer, cameraman, if you're having that as well, you're going to pay someone to come and do that. If you bring your own equipment, which is probably a better investment, so you can use it for the other events as well. It'll be a one-off cost, but at least it'd be worth it as well. And also with myself, what we did is I knew that people were coming for 4 hours. And the event was from 2 to 6, or 2 to 6:30 or 7, or whatever time it finished. So 5 hours. But what I
long one, isn't it?
It was a long one. But what I didn't want is I didn't want people to come and feel hungry or thirsty or whatever like that. So we went extra. We didn't tell anyone was doing this, but we went extra. You got it when you got on the day. We made sure there was food and drink. Yeah. So as soon as you walk in, you get a gift bag.
Yeah. People remember that as well.
Yeah, with food and drink. So it's all about that hospitality as well. And making sure that people enjoy the day. So that's another thing we have to think of. So that's what, obviously that added to the cost. But for me, I wasn't. I think it's evident. I wasn't looking at the money side of it because we didn't make no money from the free events. Sorry. We didn't make no money, but when you're starting business, the reality is you're gonna do this
a few times.
Like they say, like in the first year of a business, you don't make that profit usually, depending on obviously what your business is. But you're doing it for the long game. You're looking for something that you're trying to achieve. And for me, the way that I'm an accountant, so I know how to do it. But the way that I set up the entities. Another part of the business can finance something else. Yeah. So let's say, for example, I get clients through KBM Financial Focus that might finance KBM Edu Wealth workshops and events. Okay. And that's how you move forward with things like that. But it was an interesting journey. Okay. With doing the events, it was good there.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced with the event itself?
I think one of the biggest ones is I like to be a perfectionist.
Okay.
So I think I was keeping myself up, especially in the week leading up to the events, trying to make sure that I covered everything. So it's like, what have I forgot? What have I not done? Yeah. Blah, blah. It's just look alright. So that was a challenge. Another challenge is ensuring that what you want from the day, what you want from the event happens. Because you can put on an event, but I'm relying on you to portray the message that I want to be put through the event. Because you can get someone in, and you can ruin an event. You can get someone in who comes in and their mindset is not correct, or they're doing the wrong thing, or they don't know what they're talking about, and then they'll look at that person, but it'll look more bad on KBM than the individual, because it's like, well, you hired this person, doesn't even know what he's talking about. So things like that was a challenge. I would say another thing that's a challenge is getting people to attend as well. Yeah, because
that's tough.
Yeah, it's a challenge. Yeah. I think it's a big challenge because you know what you're offering is amazing. Yeah, and for the price that you're offering it at, you're like,
it was pretty cheap for the value that people are getting. I mean, honestly, it's crazy. But people always I feel like, honestly, people don't always necessarily do what's good for them. Yeah. You know, that's thing. Just life. They just necessarily don't do what's good for them. They do what's bad for them. Yeah. I don't know why it's backwards, but that's just how it is. And, I'm not saying this trying to preach to anybody, but generally, everybody should just inspect themselves and be like, am I doing what's right for me?
Right for you, yeah.
Or am I doing for what's wrong? And most times you're doing what's wrong for you. That's the truth. If you did what's right for you, you'd probably be where you're at.
Yeah. Right? 100%. And it happens to the best of us. Yeah. It happens to the best of us.
Exactly. I'm not, no making excuses. Not like
it was about learning that.
Exactly. So about understanding that.
Yeah. So at first I'm like, no, this is an amazing event. Yeah. Like if this wasn't my event and I heard about this, I'll be like, no, I'm going. Like, what? Are you okay? Like, yeah. For that amount, I'm going to both events and speaking to all the speakers. I'm getting all their contact details and everything like that. That's how I'm thinking about it. But then pushing that as well. And I know, for example, if I had put on a motive, a party or something like that, I could have sold it for 10 times the amount. Yeah. But you don't learn nothing from it. But I would have sold 10 times the amount of tickets. But it's in knowing that, and then but also sympathizing and being empathetic to understand. Yeah. But there was a time when I was like that.
I mean, you can have fun. Yeah. At times, right? People should have fun, right?
Yeah. I saw an event. Yeah. Like a wealth event. Yeah. And I saw a party. And there was a time when I'm picking that party every single time, no questions asked. And I'll tell you as well, I'm trying to build money. So I empathize with it. I understand. So then now it's about changing your mindset to understand, okay, so how do I reach them anyway? So I know they want a party. I know they want this. So how do you still get that person? Because it's good for them. Yeah. And yeah, I'll say that was a challenge. Okay. You have to start being a bit more creative with things. And I've learned a lot from doing these events that will help me for future events now on how to put it forward. But now you understand even more why someone would build their own personal brand so that they can get more people when it comes to their events. Yeah, it makes sense. If your brand is on a different level, then it's easier to then say, oh yeah, by the way, I'm doing an event as well. So I get that, and I get why he would do it, but as long as it doesn't cost who you actually are. Yeah, that's right. And I think that's the battle that people try and go through, or some people don't even go through it. They're just like, you know what? As long as I get to where I need to get to, doesn't matter if I lose my identity. So let me keep it for myself. The battle that I'm having is make sure you stay true to what it is your goal is and what you're trying to achieve, so that even when you do grow, if you grow, because it's not a guarantee. If you grow, then the people that are coming with you are the ones that believe in the vision that KBM has. It's better than, you know what, lose your identity. So then there's no actual real vision. Yeah. All you want is people to pack out your event. Yeah. I like the fact that across the two events, I think we had about 60, 70 people. Okay, love that. Yeah. I like the fact that we had
That's a lot of people, man.
Yeah. But I like the fact that we had it in such a nice, compact space that by the end of the events, whichever event you went to, or if you went to both, you knew the majority of people in the room. Exactly. Because there was opportunity for you to meet those people. And who knows, it'll be interesting to do a study to find out what happened afterwards. Yeah. Because now you've exchanged numbers, exchanged things like that, and see how it's actually helped you in that time?
Yeah, I actually had somebody that I spoke to that reached out to me. I'm speaking to them about trying to get them a job at my company. We're still in the process of that. Even if it doesn't happen, I still passed on something to him onto how to get it, even if he does want to do it at my company, he wants to do it somewhere else. Yeah. It's just an opportunity that we've had to have this conversation of, actually, this is how it works. Yeah. This is what you got to do, right? To get there, right? You've had that opportunity. It's not something I had. I didn't have anybody I could lean to and be like, how do I get to a grad scheme? How do I get to the big four? How do I get to a top consultancy? How do I get myself? I had never had that, right?
Exactly.
Didn't. So I said for him, I said, you're in a much better position than I was, because from your position, you have me who you can reach out to. Right, so, what were you saying about the company? What do I need to do? Yeah. And I can give you all that information, whereas I'm going in blind. Like, so yeah, it was really, really
I like that. Time. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that I was actually surprised about with the event. So from the event, I've had about 7 young people under the age of 21. Yeah. From the 2 events, who have come and say, "Oh, can you mentor me?" Love that. And I was like, "Oh, I didn't prepare for that. I didn't like." But the thing is, I always like to be honest with them. When I have these conversations, I said, "Look, if you want to learn how to invest in stocks, you should go to the people that spoke about stocks. You want to learn to invest in property, go to the person who talks about property, debt, all those kind of things. Go to those people. Like, I didn't put it on for you to come to me. I'm grateful for it. I'm never, you're not going to say no. And mentorship for me is quite big, especially with the young people as well. So I appreciate it. If you want to know how to get through life, I'm happy to help. Yeah. But when it comes to the actual topics, I'm going to say to you, what I can do to you is I can call Atto up and say, "Atto, I've got this young boy that wants to talk about stocks or whatever. Can you help him out? Or I've got someone who wants to know how to get into the industry for what you're doing. Can you help him out?" I said, I'd much rather be because I feel like I will start the process. Yeah. If I take on all that. And I try and guess. It's better to go to someone who actually knows. So that's one of the things that I loved from the event, like seeing the results of seeing the people that have come to me, and also the partnerships that I've created from that as well. And there's even some that I've gone to and said, "Well, I thought I knew about this topic."
You always learn something new. That's how I see it. You always learn something new.
I said, "Look, I'm happy to shadow you. I don't care. I'll be your assistant." And I think you can always learn. Yeah. So I was like, I need you to teach you what you know. Like, let me name your price. And I'm honest with the young boys that have asked me to mentor them as well. And I said, "Look, I went to the same person you was gassed by. I was gassed by them as well." Like I said, there was times when I forgot to take photos because I was writing things down on my phone. I was like, "Hey, let me." Crazy. You're always learning. So you humble yourself rather than saying, "Okay, like I've made it already."
Yeah. I agree. I think you always learn something, which is why I think my podcast is my favorite thing, because I feel like I'm always learning something new every week, different perspectives. And yeah, it's been great, man. Thank you so much for talking about your journey in the event space. We definitely need to do another episode. You can talk about your song, Cost of Living, after it's released. Once you release the video, I want to be mindful of that. Maybe after you release, but actually, after you release your first one, then we'll talk about. Then we'll do another one after you release your second one as well, just to talk about like the inspiration for it.
Hopefully in 3 weeks. Hopefully, it's going to be called Wealth the Red Pill. Hence the top.
Oh yeah, okay. Wealth the Red Pill, the top, and then the red bandana and everything stuff. Yeah, no, we don't rep gangs on the podcast. I'm not trying to do bloods and stuff like that. But yeah. No, that's crazy. So yeah, tell the people where they can find you.
Okay. Yeah. So the best way to find me is go to the website. So it's www.kbmhub.com. But I'm also obviously on social media as well. So Instagram is probably where I'm most active. So that's KBM_Hub.
Okay.
And then I also have the YouTube as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's KBM hashtag, sorry,
Okay.
Finesse My Finance.
Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to say about Finesse My Finance, because
Yeah.
people always ask me, why is it Finesse My Finance?
Mm.
Isn't finesse a bad thing?
Mm.
Like, it's more of like a play on words. So if someone says you got finessed, it usually means that something bad happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not using it in that words, in that way. So it's like, if I finessed your finance or finessed your money, it's like I got you out of something or helped you with something. You've increased your money, and that's it. And also another way as well, that when you do something with finesse, you do it with skill.
Okay.
So it's like,
okay.
Do you know what, that guy
skill,
finessed the ball into the top corner.
Yeah.
So you're doing it.
Like
you're doing it
FIFA,
with skill. That's where Finesse My Finance came from.
Okay.
But that's the YouTube. And like I say, that's the third entity as well, where the entertainment side of it is.
Okay.
But yeah, those, I would say those are the main thing: the website, Instagram, and YouTube.
Okay. Cool.
Twitter, and Facebook.
Yeah.
And LinkedIn is not as active.
Okay. I mean, it's hard to spread yourself in.
Boy.
You got to hire somebody to do that.
Yeah.
And any final words for the listeners?
Yeah, just like I said, the motto is educate yourself, empower the youth, and affect change. And also, I would just say, take control of what you do. Understand why you're doing things rather than what you're doing. If you want to make money, you want to build wealth, it's not a problem. Understand why you want to do it. You want to have a better life. You need to, like I say, you need to understand why. Why do you want to have a better life? What's wrong with your life right now? Like, it's easy to throw words out there. Understand the why. And if you want something, go for it. Like, don't let anyone tell you, even if it's someone close to you, don't let anyone tell you.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they're the closest people to you. Tell you wrong. And lastly, build your circle. I know it's quite generic, but it's something that I've clocked. Build your circle like amazingly. Like, that's something that you should work on more than you work on your business. Because your circle, if you have the right people there, and that circle could be one other person. If you have the right person with you to help you, and it could be a business partner, could be just a partner in general, could be a friend, could be a family member or whatever. But when it's like, okay, Michael, you haven't posted in like 2-3 weeks. Everything good? And it's like, oh no, you know what? I've got like a brain freeze. I don't even know what to post.
Wow.
But I swear you was talking about this the other day. Why don't you just post that? Oh yeah, that's a sick idea. And then, like, that circle can help, and then you'll do the same for that person as well. I said lastly, but it's not lastly. But also, I'll go back to what I said first and give a better explanation. When I say educate yourself, not everyone goes to school or learns that way or whatever. Educate yourself the best way that you know how to educate yourself. So always try and keep learning and go to the next stage.
Okay.
But I also say educate before you elevate. So don't try and get to the next level without educating yourself on this level. It's like when you're playing like Mario Brothers or something like that. There's a boss at the end of each level. Make sure you beat that boss before you go to the next level.
True.
If you try and go to the next level and you, for example, you needed a bigger mushroom to make you bigger or whatever like that, but you didn't get it because you didn't pass that level. You put the cheat code to get to that level. You're going to die straight away. So educate yourself before you go to that level, and then you end up messing yourself up. That's also with delayed gratification. When I say empower the youth, the reason I say to do it is because it actually builds you up by empowering someone else, by inspiring, empowering, by mentoring someone who is, it doesn't have to be youth, but someone who's in a less fortunate position as yourself. It keeps you on a level. And also as well, you never know when it turns around. There's so many times, like, things that I've learned about social media, I learned about through the young people. I didn't know it myself. So a lot of the things that I do on social media, or that I learn about, or that I'm doing or elevating in my business, is because someone said, why don't you try and do this? So by empowering them, what I was trying to do is help them to get a job or help them to build money or whatever, it actually ended up helping me anyway. And also, the last one, obviously, like I said, affect change. Always try to look for change. rather than try to look for something that just stays the same. So that change could come in the future, but start affecting it from now. And I think Tupac says it as well. He goes, I won't be the one to change the world, but I know that I'll affect the mind that does.
Okay.
So always think like that. There could be someone that you're affecting. Your actions could be affecting someone.
Wow, yeah.
So by you not putting your voice out there, by you not doing the business, by you not saving the money, by you not building wealth or learning how to do it, by you not managing it, by you not talking to your parents about their money, by you not telling your kids about money, wherever it may be, you could be affecting the life of someone else. So always think about that.
Love that. See, podcast. We always drop in gems. Love that final part. Affect change. It's been great having you on the podcast and speaking about your story, about the events as well. Make sure you follow Mike on all his social channels, and as he said, affect change. We'll see you in the next episode of the podcast. Thanks for listening to this episode.